There once was a boy named Scout. He loved vaping. He thought it was really cool. He learned to do some totally rad tricks with his vape clouds. However, most of the people at his school thought he was dumb and cringy. He was made fun of a lot during the day. However, the worst part for him was coming home and seeing the disappointed faces of his parents when he walked in the front door with his vape. Scout became depressed over time and mostly sat in bed with his vape by his side. To cope with his depression, Scout started watching the Shrek movies. He loved the humor that Shrek had with Donkey. He developed an obsession similar to his addiction to vaping. He bought posters and put them all over his room. He loved buying the collectibles and playing with them, oftentimes practicing his vaping skills at the same time. It was his escape. Scout's new obsession did not go over well with his parents. They saw it as harmful to him, especially due to the fact that he was using it to cope with depression. It also didn't help that he didn't stop his vaping. They were even more disappointed in him and sometimes angry. However, Scout didn't care. He only paid attention to his two favorite things, vaping and Shrek. Later that night, Scout was sitting in his bed vaping and thinking about his favorite scenes from the second Shrek movie. And all of a sudden, he felt a tug on his foot. It was Shrek. Scout was flabbergasted by the fact that Shrek was real and totally forgot about his vape, which he left on his bed. He got up to meet Shrek and to get an autograph with his idol. Shrek ignored Scout's feeble attempts to get proof of Shrek's existence and walked over to the bed. He picked up the vape, walked over to Scout, blew a fat cloud right in his face. "Vape Nash, y'all," whispered Shrek, as Scout quivered with excitement. He couldn't believe that Shrek had not only touched his vape, but actually blew a cloud with it. He would cherish this memory forever. However, Shrek could not stay long, and had to leave right afterwards. Scout was devastated, but in the heat of the moment managed to quickly grab his phone and take a picture right as Shrek was leaving. It wasn't the best quality, but it was good enough to see that it was Shrek who was flying through the window, and it was Scout's room. He posted the picture online to show people what had happened. He actually had proof that Shrek was in his room. When he told his story, everyone was amazed, but that only lasted for a short while. The next day at school, some people were talking about how Shrek had visited them that night. It was oddly similar to what happened to Scout. Scout was suspicious because he knew that Shrek had been at his house at this time when most of the stories happened. Their stories didn't check out well. Nevertheless, he went on with his life, feeling great. The next day, even more people were gathered around talking about how Shrek had visited them. Their stories differed from "he helped me with my homework" to "we played video games together" to "we watched TV together" to some rather inappropriate things. Scout felt a little uneasy, but he didn't look into it much. He just imagined vaping with Shrek again to feel better. More and more people started telling stories about their experiences with Shrek. Scout knew that most, if not all of them, were fake. Their stories weren't very believable, but I guess everyone wanted their own piece of Shrek, like Scout got. Some of them may have been straight up lies, some may have been drug-based hallucinations, some of them may have just been the person imagining Shrek. As Scout was going to bed that night, he came to a realization. Scout knew that everyone else was lying, mainly because he had a feeling in his heart. He knew that he is the only person that Shrek would visit. He has a part of Shrek inside him telling this all along. Shrek had vaped his way straight into his heart.